I'm Richard Restuccia. I'm the Director of Water Management Solutions for ValleyCrest companies. I've been with ValleyCrest now for about 3 years. Prior to working for ValleyCrest, I worked 10 years for a major irrigation manufacturer. I learned technology in the 90s working at IBM. I've got a master's degree in agribusiness management from Arizona State University. I find that my passion for water management, along with my educational background and real-world working experience, has created the perfect positive storm for working in the water management arena. Combining that with the resources then of ValleyCrest companies, and what I mean by resources is we have over 110 branch offices nationwide. We've got 11,000 employees. We are committed to water management across the nation. And thinking about that size, one thing that I think is unique about ValleyCrest is, we were founded back in 1949 by a gentleman by the name of Bert Sperber. Bert Sperber is 82 years old, and he still comes in the office every day. And he says he's never worked a day in his life because he's enjoyed working at ValleyCrest so much. So one of the things that Bert founded the company on, one of the things that he's very passionate about is he knows that each branch knows what's best for their market, knows what's best for their customers, and allows the branch managers to run their branches based on what's happening in their individual markets. And why I think this is important is as I travel around the nation and I talk to the branch managers, what I found to a person was that they are welcoming this idea of water management for our customers. And in fact, they really have identified that in the future, probably the #1 critical success factor in landscape management success is going to be in water management. So I thought it's one thing to have the ability to do it, but it's more important to have the desire. And we certainly have the desire to make a big impact in reducing landscape water in the future. I think that's really key because I've said for a while now, if we don't do something very soon about the way we manage landscape water, we will see blood spilled for water eventually. So enough about ValleyCrest right now and what I feel about water management. And let's go on to somebody who's actually done something or is doing something very positive about water management, and that's the City of Santa Clarita. And as Chris mentioned, this is a great community that was built in late 80s, early 90s, and like a lot of things at that time, lush landscapes, great streetscapes. It's a beautiful environment. Probably designed the irrigation at that time with not as much focus on water management like we have today. So the city a few years ago started to think about what they can do, what changes they could make. And as Chris mentioned, they really picked out the quickest return on their investment, spending some money up front to get the biggest water reduction in the shortest period of time was smart controllers. So they focused on the smart controllers. They did some rigorous field testing. They tested several manufacturers, and they discovered that during a 6-month field test, the WeatherTrack controllers actually saved them about 40% water over the 6-month period. They analyzed the cost effectiveness of this, which came next. As Chris had mentioned, ROI was really key for them. Some of their sites, they could pay back the controllers with water savings in a year, some as long as 5 years. The overall average came out to be about 3 years. So they were very excited about that and wanted to move forward. The other thing that they discovered, and this was something they were very excited about discovering, was that not only did they save water, but the plant health increased. And this is a big hurdle for a lot of our customers. When you start to hear we're cutting back water, people immediately think, I think it's just intuitive to say, oh my gosh, our plants aren't going to look as good. But they discovered very quickly that the plants, 1 drop of water too much is not good for the plants, as well as 1 drop too little. So they discovered that, and I thought that was a real positive for them. The next step of the process was to looking at which smart controller they wanted to use was what technology in these smart controllers could they gain the best advantage from. And they really clearly identified 3 areas that were going to be big successes for them. And the first one was the ease of installation. Because if you think about it, this total project for the City of Santa Clarita was over 500 controllers. The installation cost can be maybe 30 to 35% of the cost of the controllers. So this is a really expense that if you have a smart controller that's easy to install, you can really cut that expense. So with the WeatherTrack controllers, your hardware is in the box, there's no holes to drill in the controllers, and most importantly, the activation is quick and easy. Dialing an 800 number from the field, real person answers within 5 to 10 minutes, you've got your controller activated. So that was really key. Second thing was the power of central intranet management. Water management, and Chris will be the first to agree with me on this, the technology and the products are half the battle. The other battle is fine-tuning, tweaking the systems, making adjustments. So to be able to get the information on what's happening out there in the field, at your computer, at your office, at your job site, makes a big difference. So having that ability to look at that water and what's being put down from a remote location is really key. The other thing that's big about this, and I call it Murphy's Law of the 3-day weekend, we know that typically, I'm from Arizona, I'll be driving home to see family on a 3-day weekend, I'll get that call Friday night. Hey, we've got a big carnival happening in an area, a park, we want to be sure the irrigation's not going off over the weekend. Now with central internet management, anywhere that we can get an internet connection, we can stop the water. So smartphone or a computer, we can turn things off, turn things on. That's a huge benefit for these cities as they look at ways to manage just what the irrigation's doing according to how the parks and areas are going to be used. And then lastly is the reliability of water efficiency. And this really is critical because right now when budgets are so tight with all the cities around the nation, you're putting yourself out there. You're saying, we're going to spend a significant amount of money, and it's going to be because we're going to reduce water. So you have to feel good that you're actually going to save that water and save that money. There's a lot of eyes on this project right now. It's the same for when we as a landscape maintenance contractor go in and put a smart controller on a property. We may have a property that's worth $100,000 in landscape maintenance costs over a year. The smart controller sale may only be $5,000 to $10,000, so 5 to 10% of the total value of the contract. But if we don't save the water that we told the customer we were going to, we stand the potential of being fired from the job. So it's a really critical decision for us, same as it was for the City of Santa Clarita. And this reliability of water efficiency was a big reason why they chose, and we chose WeatherTrack when we can.